I can't even believe this is the same bedroom.
Hi guys, welcome. My name is Samantha and this is Samantha Marie Home. Today's project is a DIY IKEA PAX hack.
All right, let's get into it. I started by creating a base from IKEA PAX to create a built-in seamless look. I used 2x4s of pine and built a very simple base structure. I then need to rip down my already built IKEA PAX because the plan is to cut down the depth by 3.5 inches so that it properly fits in the space behind the window here. Okay, so now what we need to do is we basically need to cut down 3.5 inches shorter than what it is now. So I've done the math and that's what it needs to be. So obviously the width is fine. So all we're cutting down is 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna cut these down 3.5 inches each, and I'm gonna cut the back end where the plugs are, not where these guys are. It's time to put back the drawers together after cutting them all down 3.5 inches in depth. I created these holes here so that the plugs could fit in seamlessly back into those holes on the back end. And it worked really, really well. I was surprised how easy it was to create drawers that are 3.5 inches shorter. Okay, so you can see how it looks inside without the plywood. When you cut the IKEA pack, this is what it looks like. It's just crappy cardboard. So what I did was, the last one I'm going to show you here. I tried doing this without taking the cardboard out, and it just got too compacted and the plywood wasn't able to go down nicely. You don't need to take all of it out, but you do need to take, I would say like 75%. Okay, so this is the plywood that's going to go inside. Right, butter glue. And the reason I'm doing this is to create some more stability in the board because there isn't any plywood on the end here. I'm going to have to fix this to the backing of the IKEA pack. So let's just create some more stability and a place for me to drill into. Okay, and while I was waiting for those to dry, I did cut down the depth of my IKEA packs by cutting down the top and the bottom down by 3.5 inches. I just ran it through my table saw. I then needed to take down the crown behind the IKEA packs because I was going to add crown around it. And I did cut this little piece of trim off right here beside the windowsill because it was just going to get in the way and it was going to reduce the depth that I could have of this IKEA pack. So I thought, let's just trim it off with my multi-tool. If you're thinking, why the heck didn't you just take off the trim around the window? I've also questioned this too, but the trim is 120 years old. It's original trim. It's gorgeous, and I was determined to keep it and keep as much history and character in this house as possible. So yeah, I did this entire project because of that, but also I hope this helps you out if you have some limited space and you're thinking, how can I cut down my IKEA pack? So yeah, I hope this helps. Anyway, I did swap out the backing with 1/2 inch plywood just to create some more stability. And honestly, this helped it so much. It created so much more stability and security, and it was a nice way to attach the backing to the wall. So it's something I would definitely recommend if you're doing this project. I then needed to add a bit of a spacer between the IKEA packs and this MDF siding, which is going to be the new outside of the IKEA pack. So I needed to measure exactly how much space I wanted between the two, and I'm going to match that up with a panel that's going to cover that. You're going to see that shortly. But I measured out some pieces of wood to create a spacer, and I lined them all the way around so that I have an even space, at least on all the corners and the middle. I added this 12-inch board of pine to match our baseboards that are 12-inch old baseboards. I wanted it to look seamless. I didn't take the baseboards out behind it, and that's just because it's original baseboard, and I just didn't want to take anything out and make it permanent. It's been there forever, and I figured I could cope the ends out and make it look flush without removing it. I then added this piece of prime pine to cover up the space between the MDF and my original end of my IKEA pack so that I can create this built-in look with chunky sides. My nail gun was the MVP of this project. I used it so much. Without a nail gun, this would take it a lot longer. You definitely can do it, but it does make things a lot quicker. Okay, next up was the crown, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't film me doing this because it would have been a lot of swearing and not so nice faces and words, because it honestly was a bit of a challenge and a learning curve to learn it, but once I got the hang of it, it wasn't too bad now that I'm on the other side. But watch some YouTube videos on how to do this and you can figure it out. Basically everything is backwards and upside down. Okay, once I put the drawers back in, I did face them with some 8-inch prime pine to give it that really custom look because the IKEA PAX doesn't have drawer fronts that fit as tight as this. So those drawer fronts really transform the look of this IKEA PAX. So I definitely recommend them. You can definitely see the difference here where the top one doesn't have the front and the bottom one does. Okay, so I am making the door hinges, concealed hinges, and I use this Craig jig with this attachment, and it's super simple. Basically what you do, you just need to make sure you know how your hinges operate and how far the hinges are supposed to be from the end of the door and how close they're supposed to be from the edge. And you have this little mechanism that you can line up those dimensions. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side as well. Exactly the same format. You want the same distance from the top, same settings away from the edge of the door, of course. Make sure it was clean. Okay, we're good. Super easy. Okay, and the last steps were adding paint and hardware, the fun part. So I measured out how far I wanted my hardware to be from the end and from the top. Basically want it in the middle, and then I wanted it about 4.5 to 5 inches from the sides. I like the look of the hardware being really outset on the outside. I think it looks really chic, but this is totally up to personal preference. Once I added some paint and new hardware, this is the final look. I'm so happy with how it turned out. Please let me know what you think in the comments and if you have any specific questions. Just as a reminder, this is what our bedroom looked like before. The IKEA boxes were on the ground, and this is the after. Both sides of our bedroom built in. I'm so happy with the results.
Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week.